Hello there. This is another episode of Culture Coding with Agents or Coding with Agents. This is Marcio Gali and welcome to the session. Normally, I'm exposing what is closer to my working routine as a builder, as a developer. The general context of this series is to document, to reflect about what's going on and how we're changing how we collaborate. I think perhaps, I don't know, I'm sensing that nothing is changing at all. It just happens that um, there are much, we're being challenged to become better managers ahead of time. Because a manager that it's in charge or responsible, lead person responsible for a large organization, right? Take the human aspect aside. For instance, when you hear a successful person say, "I just hire A players," and too many A players are working for that person, take the human aspect aside. Take the psychological well-being or the purpose of a company of developing the well-being of people and the group aside for a moment, and imagine that um, these the collection of folks of people working for the leader following the directions of a leader. um, in that situation, A players, lots of workers there, colleagues. What we have there, right? What we have there, it's that person, it's likely, I don't know, likely they're in that position because that person somehow knows how to manage the situation there, right? Take artificial investing aside, say it's that culture, that ecosystem deserve it, that level of that volume, right? um, of the total mass of agents or colleagues, call it whatever you want, following that leadership, they are being arranged because of management at the end of the day, right? That's it's We talk so much about okay objectives and key resources because of that as well. All right. So now this sessions, I wasn't expecting to elaborate that much about objectives, about how we measure what we do, about the difficult thing about management, right now. But that's good. That's good that the reflections they come in the beginning of the video sometimes, not like in the end or in the middle. Nevertheless, I do think that these videos can be indexed later, can be transcribed later. Okay, and they can be part of they can be provide supporting points for knowledge about management, right? Okay, so in this session, all right, um, so I'm basically interested in updating, okay, the I wonder how can I show this to you, because it's the very system that we are using here, for recording this video. So let me show you this. You see, I want to show you the left hand corner right here, right, uh, right there. Dun, 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 right. So this is where we're going here. One of the projects that I'm advancing now. No, there are many systems that I'm able to advance because um, these aren't systems that the company would consider high priority. And The time and resources to do the assistance wouldn't be justified because of management, right? Because you have people working and colleagues working on their priorities, and sometimes the priorities they also harm projects, right? Because you want things that are applicable to the market right now, that kind of thing. That in Brazil is so common. We have a history there, right? Everything that is for the market, the city market, people are like crazy for, and usually technology from others, they just eat them because somebody thought about something that's more like, horizontal to a certain extent. Or, yeah, that happens. But I'm not saying that is wrong to look at the market. Nevertheless, I'm saying here that because of agents, because of this culture coding with agents, call it whatever you want, I was able to have this system here that I can show you how nice, right? Because the visual effect is, let's see, if I want to talk about, yes, I'm using, I have trouble yet with, maybe I should flip my camera, right? When I want to point to things. Yeah. So here, right, I'm using GPT 5.1 Max, Codex Max, Agent 2000. We're lacking words there, right? And already. That's it. So that's nice because the visual effect happens in one screen. That's a browser screen, by the way, right? This project here. And the other side is the other screen of the computer, right? So this is really like what art directors, they do that in movies, right? They like, you have the things happening, sometimes a fake scenario or something with the actors there. That's reality to a certain extent. And then the camera, you apply visual effects to the camera. Here, this is what happens. Just to show you, okay? Because I don't think I will be able to. Maybe it works. Maybe I can reload this page. So let's try. Okay, so in case the video stops or something, you understand that I try to reload the page where I'm basically using as the place to capture the activity, the screen activity. Okay. All right. So to contextualize this project, right? The prompt was this. Okay. No, wait, let's see if I can put it. Yeah, prompt. Let's see. Would you know why the car? I was like confused why one of the samples didn't work. And then okay, aside that, I wanted, if possible, a copy of the V4. That's a demo as V6 now, and we shall now be working on a V6. Okay, you see if you see I added a 3D effect, right? But I wonder that if that effect transformation could translate to zoomed image to where visually for the user to have a perception of a view cam moving towards the click point of that effect. You see, the writing there carries, if the late author William Zinsser of On Writing Well reads a paragraph like this, he would love it to put in the chapter of his new edition of the On Writing Well book under the section What Not to Do, right? And of course, because of the amount of jargon there, it's obscure. It doesn't make any sense, this writing, but there is something that we know, right? It's so tricky. And I'm not saying we should use this language jargon. I think we should really, really write well, like what William Zinsser would ask us. But nevertheless, I'm making a point that it came out like this to where visually for the user to have a perception of a viewport cam moving towards the click point of that effect. See, the click point has a center, right? So I wonder if we can know that point so that we bring it to the center of the screen. Of course, when we reverse the shift click, it all goes back to what was there. This, and if I go a little bit back in time here, now I'm talking about Marcio, this old chunk of coal right here in front of you. This is how I started my English lessons because I learned English with the computers, right? Back in the 80s. And so I always carried on joke like when I went to Silicon Valley and to work for Netscape back in the 2000s. Uh, and then some people would ask me, "Oh, you learned English?" I think they were like, "Be nice with it." "Oh, you learned English one day? How, Mars?" Um, and then I was like, "Yeah, with a programming language," and I would just carry on the joke because I was the joke usually, and I still am the joke, and it was like, if I want water, then go to the kitchen, execute, open refrigerator, something like that, right? Nevertheless. Anyway, so that's jargon there, but the two the two figured, right? The two figure things. Good. All right. Okay. Now, say to close this video, I want an update there. So I want this. So I was thinking, I love that. I love that. I love that, by the way. The reason that I say I love that sometimes is that I'm making a point there. I'm making a point about the architecture. I love that, by the way, and make notes in the README about the architecture we are using from a philosophical aspect. Philosophical aspect about these controls for the window area with the zoom and 3D effect and translations. So I'm keeping up the, I wouldn't say the jargon, but the outcome, the output of this work, coding that into README, right? That's one thing. Now, in addition, and then I'm coding that the design decision. I love it that. Right? In addition, in addition, could you make that 3D rotation aspect X, Y, which seems to be a rotation in two angles, right? In two angles, right? Random within the range that you have used. So every time I shift click, right, I don't want to see like this. You see, it's always like tilting 3D to the same, right? Actually, actually, one angle, the horizontal one. What do you think? The one you think is the horizontal rotation? That should be. By the way, may I check? I wonder if I can check. Uh, Dag. Mm, no, this is not. Where is the? Oh, where is the script? Oh, it's here. Yeah, Dag. Translate. Scale rotate. Frame kinetics. Current tilt. Alright. Okay, so in addition, could you make that rotation to have a tilt for the x random up to the tilt value we are using? The y keep as it is. So basically, it's a very simple patch, right? It's it's very simple patch. It's just make the rotate x random up to, and there's some it's coming along the readme changes there. And again, after the agent builds this, then we are I'm probably I don't know. It's maybe it's working because maybe I think the capture system is capturing a tab and I'm reloading the tab, so it doesn't really matter the contents of the tab because the system that records this tab, this browser tab that you can't see by the way, it's what's generating this visual, uh, is in another tab. Okay, okay, all right, it's coming along things there and readme changes there and likely the system was updated already. Okay. Yep. We have end results. Okay, I'm gonna reload. If I go away, you'll know, but probably it's going to work. All right. Turn on my webcam. Start screen share. That same screen. Hide. Hey, hello there. All right. Yes, there's some arbitrariness thing happening, but to let's see. Current tilt, current pan. This current pan, the current tilt is the tilt. So I'm going to put the current pan again, reload, start webcam, start screen share, enter window. All right. Okay. Now, okay. Okay. Yes, I think this is what I want because I just wanted arbitrariness to the why. There is an initial effect going on there, weird, right? And then I have to reflect about that, why it kind of bounces there. Uh, I have an intuition there that I know the answer, but I can't right now reflect because I always say the same thing. When you leave the party in a good moment, right? You don't wait, you don't stay there until the moment that you see trouble. Thank you very much for one more session of Culture Coding with Agents. Oh, wait. Nice.